Hello, everyone. Joseph ICEMEN here, and welcome to another episode of Society and Stuff with Joseph ICEMEN. I hear you listeners out there on which topic that you think should be discussed, and on the latest voting, it landed equally between two topics. The topics that got an equal result are fashion and authorship, and they landed on 50-50%. That is why I have decided to discuss about authorship on this episode, and on the next one, it will be about fashion. So, there will not be a voting after this episode. And that is why I have a guest. He is an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a consultant. He has his own business, Chikara Consulting, and is also a podcaster. The name of the podcast is Strategic Tech Consulting, a self-leadership in times of rapid change, and you can listen to it on any podcast platform. He is also an author and has released a book titled The Smartphone Coaching System, a book about how to radically improve your life with the help of your phone. I am currently holding a signed copy of the book from the author himself. If you do not already have a copy, I recommend you getting one. So I say welcome to Oskar Andermo. Hello, Oskar. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Joseph, for that introduction. Yes, it was nice to give you a book last time we met.
Yes.
Have you had the chance to read the book?
Just a bit, some pages. I've been quite busy actually since after we met, the work and also with work with Rotary, and you know how it is. It's all
Yes,
Rotary
absolutely,
and the association and so, but I will read it in my own time.
No problem.
Sometime. Yeah. So, how are you?
Yes, all good, all good. It's getting a bit cold now in Sweden, but no, it's everything is good.
Yeah, that's good. How does it feel being here? You are not that new to the podcast world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I used to live in Dubai. So me and a friend, we started a podcast in Dubai, actually 2015. And I had that for 2-3 years. But then I moved back to Sweden 2020, summer 2020. And so I started another podcast by myself back in 2017. So I also have a podcast, the one that you mentioned, called Strategic Tech Coaching. So I think it's a great way of learning and getting new ideas from other people. So listening to podcasts is a really, really great tool, I think.
That is good. I think that our listeners are interested in knowing a bit more about how to be an author and how the authorship work is in general. We will discuss it during this episode, and I will give you a couple of questions to answer. The very first question that comes in mind is, what made you start to just one day wake up and decide that you would write a book all of a sudden? And why a book about the smartphone?
Yeah, so there's two parts to it, I guess. The first is deciding to write a book, and the second is the book, like Smartphone Coaching System. And if I start with the first part, I was quite inspired by a guy called Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield, who is a personal development guy, and he's written a lot of books. And I found this book, and I bought this book maybe 20 years ago. And he works a lot with lists. Making a list of things you want to do, people you want to meet. And in one of those books that he wrote, he said, write down a list of 100 things that you want to do in your life. So I started doing that, and I still have that list. I never reached 100 things. I think I wrote down maybe 85 things, and I have later added things on that list. And one of the things I added on that list was to write a book. I was just thinking, this is something that one should have done in his life. So I put on my to-do list to write a book one day. And I actually shared it with my girlfriend at the time when I was studying. It was maybe 20 years ago. That one day she asked, so what are you going to do now after we studied? And I said, one day I will write a book. And she was actually almost laughing at me. She's like, come on, you're not going to write a book. And then maybe 5-6 later, it was really nice to send her my book to show her that here is my book. So and smartphone. So I call my book Smartphone Coaching System.
Yeah.
And it comes from, I've been interested in personal development for many years. And one of the things that happened when I moved to Dubai in 2007 was that me and my friend, we used to meet in Stockholm and sit down and discuss our goals for the month and what we were supposed to do for the month. Like we put down some exercise goals and some maybe a number of books we were supposed to read and these kind of things. So once a month we sat down and we talked about our goals for the next month. And then when I moved to Dubai, he was still in Stockholm, so we couldn't do that. And at that time, this was 2007, so this was quite a long time ago. But we decided to do the same thing, but put them in a Google document in the cloud. So at the beginning of the month, I wrote down my goals in this Google document, and he did the same thing. And that's when I was start thinking, there's a lot of things you can do with technology to implement personal development. So then I started thinking about more and more about this, how you can use your smartphone as a tool for personal development. And that was basically how I came up with the idea of the book, The Smartphone Coaching System.
Interesting. It's very interesting. As I mentioned to you, I have started reading it a bit, and I'm looking forward to the other chapters that are on this book. Definitely looking forward to it. Another question that I have is, was it hard to get the book out there? Like, was it hard because did you know anyone before you started with authorship, or did you have like any contacts before you made this book? How was it? Was it hard to, get it out there?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things when you write a book, and the first part is, having the idea, the kind of vision. What is it that you want to, what message you want to give out?
Yeah.
And then the second part is then taking that message from idea in your head to writing it, sitting down and writing it, And that's, I think it's very, very hard, It takes time. It takes, it's time consuming and can be quite frustrating. And then the third part is then, to publish the book, to get the book out there and do the marketing and these kind of things. So actually, my mother has written 2 books, but she also self-published. So I knew, I learned a little bit from her. She had like ways to do the self-publishing. And so first, when I released my book, I actually self-published on Amazon. And that is not that difficult, actually, but then it's just an ebook. So on Amazon, you can upload your book as an ebook. So that's, I guess, it's the easiest way. There's not so much cost in printing, these kind of things. So that's how I did it first. But then after maybe 6 months, I realized that I didn't just want to have an ebook. I wanted to have an ebook that I can give out. As you know, my book is quite short and it's meant to be brief. It's meant to be an easy read with very practical hands-on tips. So it's kind of part of my marketing to have the book. So I wanted to also have a physical book. So that's when I started the process of, finding a publisher that could help me print it. And then I used the same company as my mom used to self-publish the book, actually, which is a Swedish publishing company. So.
Okay. Yeah. So you can say that writing books, it runs in the family.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've written 1 book. My mother has written 2 books, and my brother has written 1 book. It's actually only my father that hasn't written one, but I think he should, and he said that this summer that maybe he will do it. I don't think he will, but my father has had an interesting life with lots of experience, and so I think it will be an interesting book. But yeah,
wow.
For now, it's just 4 books in the family.
4 books, yeah. Well, 4 books. That's quite good.
But I can share a little bit the challenge of writing it, the physical, sitting down and getting the idea from your head down to a piece of paper.
Yeah,
that is the challenge.
I was gonna get to that because I can imagine how hard it can be to do that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it was actually, I was traveling quite a lot at work. So I was flying a lot. And at that time, you didn't have Wi-Fi when you were flying. There was no Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So I actually, probably 50 to 60% of my book was written while I was flying. because I made a commitment to myself that whenever I'm flying, I'm going to bring my laptop and I'm going to work on my book.
Wow.
And I think you need a little bit of discipline to sit down and take the ideas from your head to the paper, you know. So flying was perfect for me. But if someone that is listening wants to write their own book, I think a good way is to block maybe 1 hour every day and sit down and do a little bit every day. That's small steps, you know, that's the way.
Wow. Yeah, it's fascinating what you are telling, because I can imagine how hard it can be with the physical part. No.
Yeah. And for me also, I like to start things.
Yeah.
I'm very good at starting things, but sometimes I'm not so good at finishing things, you know.
Oh.
so I had the idea, I started writing, and then finishing it, that was difficult for me. So, but at the end, I found a guy that could help me to check my English. I wrote the book in English, which is, of course, my second language. Yeah. So I found an English guy that I could give the book to him, and he would check the writing and the grammar and everything. Sometimes he missed a couple of things, actually, which I have realized after. But once you printed the book, it's too late. But there are still a few mistakes in the book, unfortunately. But that's just how it is. The content and the message is still, I think, relevant to this day, even though the book is a couple of years old now.
Yeah, because I see, when I look at the book, this was made in 2013.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the whole idea behind the book, I call it the smartphone coaching system, is that all these ideas on how to, personal development ideas and maybe entrepreneurship ideas, all these ideas are out there. You can find these strategies, you can find the ideas, but sometimes people forget to implement. And a sales course back in 2003, which was really, really good. And we were very inspired after the course, but then we went back to the office and nothing happened. You know, everyone kept working the same way as they did before the course. So if you don't implement what you're learning, then there's no point in learning at all. And implementing is, taking a few steps, doing something a little bit every day, developing good habits. And the whole concept behind the book is to take the ideas that are working and use your phone to help them implement them into your daily life. So the phone becomes kind of like an extra coach. And I have lots of techniques in the book. So that's basically what the book is about, how to take ideas and help people go from inspiration and ideas to implementation of these ideas.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Definitely.
I can share also that, so when I released the book, I called it the Smartphone Coaching System.
Yeah.
But as you know, the name of my podcast is called Strategic Tech Coaching.
It's different. Yeah.
It's a different name, and the reason for this is that when I've done my own business since maybe 2010 or something like this, and I started working with events and doing events with a global organization called Hans Briscoe, which is a great organization. But around maybe 2014, 2015, I realized that I actually want to help other people. So with Chikara Consulting, the outcome is that I want to help individuals and organizations to function and feel better in a world that is changing fast and that is global. So it's about helping I do that through coaching, one-to-one, or through speaking, keynotes, and different training sessions. And I realized that this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I thought, if I build a brand around smartphones, maybe 5, 10, 15 years from now, we will not have smartphones, but technology will always be there. So I changed the name from the Smartphone Coaching System to Strategic Tech Coaching, because it's about strategies for a good life, implemented with the help of technology and adjusted to the person in front of me through coaching. So technology will always be there, but maybe 5 years from now, we will all have Google glasses or something, and we will not have smartphones. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, you are reading the news and on TV and on the paper, and they are telling you that robots will rule the world a couple of years later, and you are like, oh, really?
Exactly.
Instead
Yeah.
of when you, for example, when you will go to a store, like there will be robots there who will help you with what you need and what you want instead of human beings. That's a bit, isn't it a bit scary though?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean the world is changing fast, and I mean it's starting to happen already. You know, if I go to our local store to buy to local supermarket to buy food, I
Yeah.
think maybe 60-70% use the self checkout. They don't go to speak to the person at the cashier. They use the self checkout, and that's an example. This will happen more and more. So we will, technology and robots and AI and all these things are taking over more and more. So, but there will always be a need for that human interaction, and I think
Exactly.
that's yeah. So we need things like Rotary that we both are part of, for example, where we meet other people and connect. Will always be needed. So.
Exactly, because that was my next question actually that I would ask you. Like with the human, like you need to see others, you need to socialize, and you need to do things physically to feel better. I mean, if only robots will do the job for you, I don't know. Will it be that great? What
No,
do you think?
I think I think so. What I call strategic tech coaching, as I mentioned, is three words: strategic tech coaching. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so strategic is strategies for a good life or a good business, and this is many times following the foot. You know? So if someone has done something and maybe written a book about it or done a course about it, you can find those strategies and try to implement them into your own life. And then technology is using technology, and technology can be used in a good way and a negative way. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, when I talk about strategic tech coaching, or as sometimes I call it STC, it's about using technology in a good way. So, for example, what we're talking about now, this is a podcast that we can share and people can listen to it around the world. And hopefully, maybe they can get some inspiration. Maybe they'll also write their own book and spread positive messages. That's a positive use of technology. And then there are many negative use cases of technology, and there's addiction, and there's I mean, we unfortunately see depression rates are going up and all this. So there's a lot of negative things with new technology, but it's up to us, the users, to find the technology and use it in a positive way. So with STC or strategic tech coaching, it's about using technology for us, not against us. Use technology in a positive way, not in a negative way. And then the last word is coaching, and coaching is that you adjust it to your own challenge. So sometimes I work one-to-one with people, and then everyone has their own individual challenges, and then we adjust the coaching program to their specific challenge, So, But yeah, technology, I mean, one thing that we know is that it will just keep changing, and it will be very fast. So we need to learn to adjust, and we need to learn to always be learning, stay curious, these kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you mentioned, technology can be used in a good and in a bad way. But like there are leaders, like for example, presidents or politicians, or do you sometimes feel that the topic technology is being brought up, that these leaders can take it to the extremes to make it feel like there will be no human interaction at all? What is your take on that? Because you hear it on the news daily. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I interview a guy on the podcast that written a book called The End of Jobs, and we discussed all this, with AI and robots, and he said, I think for the job market, he said there's two ways. Either you go hard tech or you go hard human. And hard tech means that you maybe become a programmer, or some maybe digital marketing, but learn the tech stuff, and the other way is hard human. Be really good at working with humans, and that could be in sales, it could be coaching, it could be a therapist, could also be working with kids, it can working with elderly. So that's for the future. I think we either need to go hard tech or hard human, and I think the human interaction will always be needed. And of course, it's a bit sad when people spend too many hours on their phone, or also with computer games that are getting better and better. I mean, there's something called nomophobia now, which is a new term for having a phobia of not having your phone next to you.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So these things, it's there's a lot of negative also with this technology, and we need to make sure that we take the positive and leave the negative out of it,
Yeah.
And it's difficult. I mean, I'm not like my nephew is trying to get me to download the TikTok app, but I'm trying to avoid it because I think TikTok is one of those things that can be very addictive, and also the attention span is very short. Are you a big TikTok fan, Joseph?
I'm not a fan, but I do use it, but I use it for social purposes. I mean, it's like you say, you have to balance between technology and human interaction. It is not like that I can be on my phone for hours or be on TikTok for hours. Like, I do socialize. I am a very sociable person, so I do socialize with others. I think it is very important to do that. But I only use it for social purposes, or for just sharing clips with others, other friends or family. That's what I do. I do not spend that much time on TikTok. You will find most of my work on my site instead.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but the world is changing fast, and more and more technologies are coming. And I mean, I've done a lot of training sessions the last 2 years some are over Zoom or Teams, and some are live. And I mean, we just spent a long weekend in Poland together with a group of people.
Yeah,
and
we did.
How we could have done that over Zoom, or we could have done it over Teams, and it would have not have been the same thing, because you interact. You had a training session, but you interact in between. You have lunch together, then we went out in the evening for different activities. So we need that physical interaction with other people. That's not going to stop.
Yeah, just so the listeners know, Oskar mentioned Poland. I went to a leadership training that Rotary had in Poland between the dates 2nd to 4th of September, and that is what we are talking about. Just for the listeners' information, so they know what we are talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it was many wonderful days we had there in Poland, and it wouldn't have been the same with a Zoom meeting or seeing each other in another digital way. Having this human interaction, that's the best option.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, we had a great time. I will always treasure those times. Yeah. Great. You told me that you had a nephew who uses the phone a lot.
I mean, it depends on who you ask. Like, if you ask his parent or my brother, I mean, they would. They have put restrictions, the number of hours, and of course they want to use the phone more, and the parents want him to use the phone less. So
because
this constant battle.
Yeah, it's a constant battle. Now I know that I also have cousins and so that are underage that are in front of their phones any second they get, even on when you need to interact with others, they are on their phones. But anyway, my next question is, what's your take on the younger generation being all fed with this technology? Because you do see a negative pattern with the younger generation always being on their phones, and always posting video clips that you would think is, what is this? Why would you post something like this? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think we need to be careful. I think we need to balance this. I think we need to use technology for good, not bad, like I was saying before. And I think, it's sad that they've been showing this. I think they call it the I generation, that those that had iPhone or social media when they joined high school, so starting from like 2008, 2009, something like this, the depression rates has gone up a lot. done studies in US or in Sweden, different parts of the world. And so it seems like for mental health, it's not good at all. So yeah, we need to balance this. I think we can use the technology to learn. We can use the technology to connect. We can use technology to meditate. For example, you can do mindfulness meditation or mental training through your phone. So these are some examples of positive use of technology. But then the negative use, I think we just need to put some restrictions in our lives, So when I was growing up, there was a lot of talks that we would all be destroyed because we had VHS, we had videos, lens on video and stuff. So we were watching too much TV. But I think it's okay. It's just to balance it with other things,
I know that always, you used to hear from the elders or your parents or,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, this will destroy you and what is this? And
I think the wonderful thing with technology is one is to learn. And the other thing is that you can have communities. Like, for example, I've been practicing a Filipino martial art called Pikiti Teisha Kali. It's a quite small martial art, and maybe 50 people train Pikiti Teisha in Sweden, max, maybe even less.
Oh, really?
But throughout the world, there are a couple of thousand. And we have a community, we have Facebook groups, we have YouTube channels that are, teaching this art. And thanks to technology, I can watch my instructors in the Philippines, I can watch the instructors in US, and we can connect and discuss this. So whatever interest you have, there are communities online where you can find like-minded people. So it's a great tool if you want to connect with like-minded people around the world. And I think that's also a good way to make the world more peaceful, because when you have a common interest, it doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or a Christian or an atheist, but if you have a common interest, you connect with people around the world. So we just need to make sure that we use this technology in a good way, not in a bad way.
Definitely. We need to balance the using of the technology and how it inflicts in our lives.
Yeah,
because it's so sad. You hear on the news and you read the paper and like you hear that someone just got killed, for example. But some people were filming it instead of helping.
Exactly.
I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Is that what the world has come to?
Yeah, that's
people
sad.
filming someone who is dying? Well, I mean, okay.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of fear being spread and a lot of hate on social media platforms. And one of my teachers, he said that if you have an island and there's a shark attack every 100 years, so after the shark attack, people, the next 2-3 days, people will be a bit scared going out in the waters. Oh, there was a shark attack yesterday. But then maybe 1 or 2 years later, people will have forgotten about the shark attack. And then it takes 100 years until the next shark attack. But if you connect all those islands, and there's a lot of islands, and every day there's a shark attack, and they report it on some news channel. So you think there's a shark attack every day. Oh, there's a shark attack on that island. There's a shark attack on that island. And then suddenly you think the world is falling apart because you just hear all the bad news. And unfortunately, bad news are selling. So then people walk around and are scared.
Yeah, of course. I also think it's a lot of, agenda with spreading only negative news and so. But I'm always critical to what I see, what I read, and with what I hear. Always.
Yeah. And that's another thing that is very important in these days is critical thinking and taking the perspective of others. So the world is global, and you need to kind of jump into other people's shoes and see from other people's perspective. And so don't just read one news channel. Read many different ones and form your own opinion.
Yeah,
and then you can dig around a little bit and find. You need to distinguish between facts and truth. No, facts and opinions. Sorry,
facts and opinions.
Yeah. So we need to distinguish between facts and opinions, and sometimes dig down and see what is there a verifiable fact behind this, or is it someone pushing their opinion, or even pushing propaganda? And there's a lot of propaganda out there.
Oh
So
yeah, tell me
yeah,
about it.
yeah. So we need to be careful with this. But if I go back to this, strategy, technology, and coaching, what I call
Yeah, yeah,
strategic tech coaching.
yeah.
So strategies. I've been interested in personal development for, I don't know, more maybe 25 years now, and it comes from when I was in high school. We had a, and he said when I was 18 years old, he said, go home and write down what you want to do in the next 5 years of your life. So write down a list of, maybe 5 to 10 things that you want to do in your life. So I was, when you're 18, you think like 5 years, that's like forever. But I went home and I wrote down like, okay, these are like 10 things that I want to do in the next 5 years. And then I put that book aside. And I found that book when I was 22. And 9 out of those 10 things I had actually done. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, could it be that you can actually create your own future? Can you design your own life? So since then, I've been interested in personal development, and I've been, so compiling all these strategies from the big guys and from. So I'm certified in mental training and coaching and positive psychology. I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to collecting these strategies. So and now with podcasts and YouTube, there's so much out there to learn. So there's so many great opportunities to learn.
Definitely.
But some people that are into learning, I think there's 2 ways. Either you go out and experiment without learning from others, and you go out and take a lot of action. And that's great as long as you reflect and adjust your course. But then the other way is learning from others. And I think it's best to combine learning from others and go out and do a lot of things and have a lot of experiences and then reflect on both of these. Because if someone has done something and combined all these strategies into a book, there's a lot that can be learned from that.
Yeah.
So why not read a book or listen to a podcast or a YouTube channel with someone that has compiled these strategies for a good life? So that's what the strategic tech coaching is all about. Taking those good strategies, taking the best strategies and implementing with the help of technology. Because if you don't implement the strategies, then it's just, you read it for just theoretical knowledge. There's no use. But if you also take the strategies that are working and implement them into your daily life, that's how you can see a change in your life, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you have so many options nowadays. I mean, for example, if you are a musician and you want to release a single or an album, you can do it through an aggregator. I mean, there are plenty of aggregators. Or, for example, now with this podcast that you and I are doing, there is also a distributor for podcasts, which is very good.
Exactly.
So you can do a lot, and that's quite smart, and that's quite good actually. It's like a tool, so it's very good.
Exactly. Yeah. Same like, the topic of today was a little bit being an author, and with Amazon, it's so easy. If you, let's say you have an idea of writing a book, you take the time and you write your book, then you can upload it on Amazon as an ebook, and people can download it as a Kindle book wherever they are on the planet. So these technical platforms have made it much easier to share ideas. Then, of course, there's a lot of competition because there's a lot of content being produced. But yeah, it's easy nowadays to be an author, actually. When are you writing your book, Josef?
Oh, let's say I have some ideas.
Yeah.
But I have plenty ideas, but I just don't know how to start. That's all.
Yeah.
I just need to start somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways of doing it. It's either blocking a little bit of time every day, like write it in small chunks over a long time, or block 2-3 weeks and go away somewhere and just sit down and focus 100% on it. So those basically, I think, are the 2 ways of getting the ideas to a finished book.
That is also what I'm thinking. Just go away someplace and write the book, because in your daily life you have a lot of other responsibilities that takes a lot of space and a lot of time.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think the go away part me going away and writing something. That would be quite great. Yeah, definitely. So, on to the next question. Would you say that you are a theoretical person or a physical person? Yeah, like you like doing instead of listening.
I would say both. I like to learn. I like to study others. I like to read books. I like to listen to podcasts. I like to listen to courses. But then also I like to do. So it's kind of a mix. Maybe some form of ADD. Like I love to learn new stuff. So sometimes I constantly listen to the latest and constantly learn new skills. But I know also that if I don't take these strategies and implement them in my life, then it's for nothing, So a little bit of both, and I mean, I have my own company since 2010, and done a lot of different things. So yeah, if I would just study, then those things would not have happened, So I have this concept of taking ideas to reality, which is I have a whole format on how I take ideas to reality, and that's something that I use all the time, to take those ideas to reality. And I can give you an example.
Oh yeah.
So I was sitting in a bar in Dubai with a friend. This was a long time ago, and we were listening to a live band. There was a live band playing at this bar. And I am a skier. I grew up with skiing. And me and my friend, we were listening to the live band. And it's like, wait a minute, these guys are Swedish, aren't they? It's like, yeah, they are Swedish, So I was like, we checked with the live band. Yeah, we're from Sweden. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I started talking with my friend again. It's like, listen, I miss skiing, And in Sweden, when you go skiing, there's this après ski or after ski, where you go to a bar and there's a live band that plays music, and there's a little bit of a party after you've been skiing the whole day. So I was thinking, maybe I should do an event where we take this live band and we go skiing. And in Dubai, they have an indoor skiing place, They have a place where you can ski inside. So you can ski 365 days a year in Dubai. So I was thinking, imagine we have a skiing competition for Scandinavians living in Dubai, and after the skiing competition, we continue in this bar with this live band, and they can play some Swedish rock music. I was like, wow, this is really, really fun, But that was an idea at the time, and I could have just left it at that and said no, and just left it there. That would be a fun idea, or I could have done something about it, and I decided to do something about it. So the next day, I found an event partner, and we start, coming up with the concept and making an action plan. And the next thing we did was actually to block Ski Dubai. So 2 months later, we had a date. Okay, this is the date where we want to rent Ski Dubai. And then we had to work backwards, finding sponsors, finding people that wanted to participate, marketing in the media. And it was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun. And this is, the idea of taking an idea from inspiration to implementation. And then I use these methods that I now teach in strategic tech coaching, when I help other entrepreneurs. So taking those ideas and implementing. And we had a lot of fun at the skiing competition, and we had a lot of fun at the after ski with the Swedish live band playing Swedish rock music. And it was a great memory that I will cherish for life. And we were also featured in some of the biggest newspapers in Dubai.
Wow, that's event. Great.
Yeah, it was
great. Fun. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, so you have done quite a journey, you can say.
Yes, there's a lot of yes, absolutely, a lot of things that throughout the years.
And I mean, you have your business, and you had it for 12 years now, right? Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah, something like this. Yeah, exactly.
And wow, are things going good with your business now, or how is it?
So I can tell you what happened. So I said that around 2015, I started to shift a little bit to go away from events and work more with as a leadership consultant and a leadership coach, doing training and team buildings and coaching. So this was when I was in Dubai. So I started shifting a little bit. And in the beginning, when you start something new, it takes time, and it's not always easy. So I had some initial, struggles, trying to get clients, but I built it up quite good. And middle of 15th of March, 2020, I was sitting on a sand dune in the desert of Dubai, watching the sunset. I just finished a team building that we did out in the desert, sitting in the hot sand, watching the sunset. It was amazing, It was some horses in the background. It was two Bedouins actually riding horses in the background, and then some camels was passing by. It was just amazing. I was so thankful because like, wow, this is going to be an amazing year. The business looks great. Everything is perfect. 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit around the world.
Oh, yeah, the pandemic.
Suddenly, what I'm doing is illegal. I'm doing team building, I'm doing coaching, speaking, and training. It's not legal to do it in Dubai. We are locked up in our apartments for 2-3 months, and this was the peak season. This is where I will make them. In the summer, it's too hot to do team buildings out in the desert. So in the summer, I wouldn't do any of this. So during the peak season, everything shut down. Locked up in the apartment for a couple of months. And so then it's like, in personal development, sometimes they talk about, what you focus on, you get more of, law of attraction, you can attract what you focus on.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are external factors that are outside of your control that you can't do anything about. So if I'm locked up in my apartment and it's illegal to do what I'm doing, it doesn't matter how much I spend thinking about law of attraction and trying to attract, all the business in the world, because it's illegal to do what I'm doing. So, it was kind of tough. And then at the end, we decided to move back to Sweden. So summer of 2020, we moved back to Sweden. And then slowly but surely, I've been building up my business in Sweden. And 2020, autumn was quite tough. 2021 was also a little bit tough. But now I'm finally getting there. So now I'm regularly coaching, speaking, and training, but doing it in Sweden. And one of the things that I'm doing is this cross-culture training that you saw me doing in Poland.
So very wonderful presentation. Really, it was a very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So that's one of the things I do with companies, that are international. So like I said, I like to help individuals and organizations function and feel better in a world that is changing fast and that is global. And the world is global nowadays. Organizations can have departments around the world, and then it's a little bit tricky with the communication sometimes, because everyone thinks differently. So.
Oh yeah. No, it's global all over the world. You remember when we landed to Poland?
Yeah.
Like the first thing we saw was IKEA, and later we saw Max Hamburger.
Yes, exactly.
And we were like, wait a minute, are we in Poland or are we in Sweden again?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, did we fly to Kungens Kurva?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Are we in the right place now?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So for me, like I had some tough times with the business 2020 and 2021, but now it's getting better again. And finally I feel the worst is over, and I had good bookings for the rest of the year. But then running your own business is not always easy. There are ups and downs.
Yeah.
But with the right focus and actions, if you take daily actions and with the right focus, you can turn it around. And I had ups and downs in my business, and you learn from the tough times and become a better person. So it's called mental toughness training, using those tough times to grow and learn and become a better person and become a better entrepreneur, and then celebrate the good times. So.
Yeah. This is a sidetrack that we went to, but what would you say to entrepreneurs who have recently opened up their own business or recently started and trying to get clients? Do you have any tip?
Yeah, I'm working on a new program actually. I call it Act and Attract. And it's a combination of this concept, law of attraction, and law of the hustle. Okay. So law of the hustle, or law of taking action, is simply says that the more things you do, the better it will go. But if you combine this with law of attraction, because sometimes you just take action the wrong way. But with the law of attraction, if you sit down and listen to your inner guidance and listen to your intuition and then take action based on that, it's even better. So it's about combining, with the right focus, with the right mindset, and sometimes think and not just act. So combining those two, that I think is a key, because sometimes if you're worried, for example, and you take a lot of action, but you do it from a worried state, it's not the best. It's better to first get into a nice, positive, grateful state, and then think, what should I do today to take my business to the next level? Write this down on a piece of paper and then take action. So it's about combining law of attraction with law of the hustle or law of action. Call it act and attract.
Act and attract. Yeah. So entrepreneurs, if you hear this, this is what you need to do. Yeah. That's great. That's great. So, are you planning on releasing any more books?
Yeah, like many people, you have a couple of books in your head, and I will probably do it, but it is quite time-consuming process, and it takes a little bit of a time. So it's not going to happen this year. But I have 2-3 ideas of things that I want to write down. So yeah, one day it will, but not for now. A couple of years, maybe 5 years. Let's say
5 years.
Let's say 3 to 5 years. So it's 2022 now. Yeah, 2025.
Yes, 2022. 2025.
Yeah, I'll commit. Before 2025, I've written one more book. Okay. You can hold me accountable. 2025, you can give me a call. Oskar, how's it going with that book?
I'll mark it in my calendar.
Yes, please. No, I have an idea in my head that of something I want to write, but it is quite time consuming, and it takes a lot of commitment from you. So, yeah.
We have spoken about the technology and how it's evolved during the years. Do you think that people will read books that they get physically, or will they only read them online?
I think it will be both. There was a lot of talks a couple of years ago that the physical books will die out and everyone will read just ebooks. But personally, I have a lot of ebooks in my iPad, but I prefer a physical book. Like I like to hold something physical. So I think there's a market for both, but there's something with a physical book, no? Don't you think? It's nice to...
Yeah, I would also say so. Like holding the book, it's a different feeling than just looking it up online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, definitely. Can you take a digital book with you? Yeah, well, if you have it on your phone, but I mean, a physical book, I don't know. Maybe it's more therapeutic having a physical book.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading on your phone or on your computer screen.
Yeah,
maybe it's not that therapeutic compared to having it physically.
Yeah, it's nice also to have the book at home, to pick it up, maybe underline some things, and then you can go back to it and look at it again, and So I think it was Jim Rohn that used to say that poor people, they have big screen TVs, and wise and rich people, they have big libraries. So build your own success library,
Oh. Yeah, maybe there is a point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was great having you here, Oskar, today, and very appreciated that you took your time being here. And we will probably get in touch. We will see each other. I think it will be 2 weeks from now. We will see each other in another Rotary meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was fun talking to you, Joseph, and keep doing what you're doing. I listened to the previous episode with Darina, and it was very interesting as well. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I will continue doing what I do, and you keep doing what you do. I listen to your podcast, and I'm currently reading your book, and it's fascinating. It's very interesting, and I've heard your presentation about cross-culturing. I really recommend to the listeners out there, hire Oskar. If you really need coaching in your company and how to succeed as entrepreneur, have a presentation, hire him for a presentation or a coach session. Yeah, I highly recommend him.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joseph. I appreciate that.
Okay. You have a good one, Oskar. Take care, and
you too.
we'll get in touch.
Yeah,
Thank
all the
you.
best. Thank you for today.
Bye. Oskar Andermo, everyone. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.